Okay, we good.
And where's the link at? It's on your page.
I'm gonna share it right now. Y'all, that's Rob Woolrich. We're listening to Daydreaming, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the front line. Hello, everybody. What happened now? Good stuff.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Hey, my mama's on. Hey, Mama Eric from Las Vegas, I believe it is. Somewhere in Arizona. No, you in Arizona. Good evening. Lisa, thank you for joining. Hello, everybody. Josie, welcome to the Frontline Volume 4, everybody. So glad to have you all on. Have everybody with us tonight. We're going to have so much fun tonight, man. Usually, I do this in a big way, in a venue with food and decorations and everything, but we can't do that. And I usually charge y'all for this. But it's a different thing going on now. So here we are. It's free. You here, we here. And ladies and gentlemen, I have 5 of the best in this country here with us tonight. They are masters of music. And I'm honored that each of them gave me no problem with joining us tonight. We're just going to talk about some stuff, man. Good evening, Ebony. Hey, Eb. Everybody know you. What's up? So, man, we are so glad to have you all join us. And like I do every week on self-checkout, I'm going to do tonight on the front line. I want you to like, love, and share this video so that everybody can hear what we're going to be talking about tonight. These people really need no introduction, y'all. Everybody knows them. Everybody loves them. So I'm not going to do it. I'm going to let them do it. They can introduce themselves, tell us a little bit about themselves, and then we'll get into our discussion. Ladies first. Come on, April. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, my name is April Shannon, choir director, vocal trainer, teach parts, praise and worship leader, I've sang with several community choirs over the years, and I know some of you all might not have even been born when I started singing with community choirs. My first community choir was Cynthia Wilson and the Anointing, and then I sang with Keith Butler and Delegation. I did almost 16 or 17 years with Kenny Lewis in One Voice. Then I finished with Deshaun Smith and the Anointed Worshipers, and now I'm just with Joshua Missionary Baptist Church, where Leon T. White is the pastor.
All right. And she is also the thorn in my side. Everybody needs
We're
to
not
know
going to
that.
start with that tonight. Not tonight. I'm trying to stay holy.
Well, we are definitely glad to have you and your experience. Marquita, talk to us.
Hey everybody, my name is Marquita Dixon, and I am a singer and an organist. I've been playing for about 20, Lord Jesus, about 27, 28 years now, 27 years, I'll say, and singing all my life. And one thing people really don't know about me is that I'm actually an elementary music school teacher. So I'm on a break right now as I finish some things with my degree, but I have 13 years classroom experience teaching pre-K through 8th grade. So I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
One of my godsons, Justin Collier, told me that you were his teacher. You were his music
Yeah, I
teacher.
had him, Duntrail, and Dazelle.
Oh, you had all three of them. Okay, well, Justin said he really.
I had all three of them. Mm-hmm.
Justin don't like nobody, but he said he really like you.
Oh,
Well, we glad to have you with us tonight. Buster, Buster is here, y'all. Buster is in the room. What up, Buster?
All right, James, cut it out. Rob, cut it out, because I know y'all about to cut up. I already know. Hey, y'all. I'm Donald Buster Woods. I'm just a servant, you know. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm a musician, minister of music, songwriter, producer. Like Marquita, elementary school teacher, taught in a private sector in Oak Park, Illinois for 20 years. Decided to go back into the classroom at the age of 40, like a crazy person. But went back into the classroom at age 40 and been teaching in the North Lawndale community for 8 years, and been doing this music thing for a very long time. Played for many artists. All the artists, pretty much the guys. Just been around a long time, man. Just glad to be a part of this panel with these youngsters, because these dudes, these are monsters on here. I'm the old head on here. April, you younger than me, I think. So yeah, I'm the old head. But it's glad to be here. Thanks for having me. Will. Thanks.
Yeah, man, I didn't want to do this without you. Definitely glad that you stopped by. Rob, what up?
What up, y'all? So I'm Rob Ward Jr. My pops told me to start saying Junior because he been trying to take my checks. But yeah, I'm a bass guitarist. I'm from the west side of Chicago. Bass guitarist, songwriter, producer. I came up under these guys, James, Buster. They pretty much, raised me up in the music game. Yeah, that's about it. I ain't gonna hold y'all long.
You ain't gonna hold us long. And then, of course, there's my boy James Anderson. Talk to us, man.
What's up, family? James. People call me J-Ant. There's too many James in the industry, so I had to, figure it out. But I'm a music director, songwriter, producer from Chicago. I'm a servant. That's basically sums it up for me.
Y'all, they being modest, and I appreciate that. But these are definitely what I call them masters of music, all of them. And they are, in my eyes, celebrities. I know they don't like that, especially Rob. He can't stand it. But I want you to understand where I'm coming from, and this is where I'm actually going to start our discussion, because we got a good hour and a half to go. I can't remember who I was talking to, but I was actually talking to Ebony. Yes, I do. I was talking to Ebony, and I said to her, I said that I respect these men and women as celebrities. I look at you like you are like that, especially James and Rob. I remember distinctly. I was around when Rob was little, when James was little. You know what I'm saying? When Buster was young.
And small, you gotta say, and smaller.
Oh
No, he just said young. He ain't say small. He said young.
no, I ain't doing that. You know, when Marquita was one of the first female organists that I heard that I was like, yo, she is cold. I mean, we didn't have Twinkie in Chicago, but we had Marquita. You see what I'm saying? You all are great to me. April was always on somebody's program. She was singing, she was directing, she was doing something. And I appreciate everything that you all offer to our city, especially our city. But you all are nationally and internationally known, so I appreciate you all stopping by. Now, let's talk for a second because, and I don't think I posted it on Facebook, and I want to ask you guys, in your craft, do you? Any one of you can pick this up. Do you all feel like there is it okay? And let me just talk about me, because when you all may remember years ago, I used to play. I used to love to play. I never was that good of a player, but I did what I needed to do to get by. And I played for some 20, 30 years. And now that I'm at the age that I am, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to play no more, you know? And I've been feeling that way for several years now. I'll play for my church if I have to. If by means our musicians can't show up for whatever reason, I'll step in. But it's almost like I don't like it no more. You see what I'm saying? So is that natural? Have you all ever had that feeling? Or is it okay for somebody like me to say, yo, I'm done with this. I'm stepping back. Let these new cats do it. Let the younger people, like Buster said, let them do it. How y'all feel about that?
I'll go. I think that's crap.
What?
So yeah, first of all, I didn't even know you played until I got older, and then my mama told me that you used to play. I just always thought you was a teacher and taught choirs and stuff. Being around Alvin Willis when I was a kid, you always was teaching or directing when Alvin couldn't be there. So I didn't know that you played until you started. Well, when I started going to Gospel Truth. But I say to that man, I'm gonna play as long as I can. I don't know, like Buster said. I remember Buster said like 10 years ago, when I turn 40, I ain't playing no, and he's still playing because I feel like that's a part of who he is, and you just can't just give that up because if you do,
I said 50. I said 50.
No, you didn't. You said 40. You said because you told me that I was gonna have broadcast when you turn 40. You remember that, and you still ain't right. Exactly.
I did.
But we're not gonna get into that. But I feel like music is what we've been doing our whole life, so it's gonna be hard for you not to just do that because since I've been knowing you, you've been teaching, singing, and what I'm saying, and playing, so it's gonna be hard to just give that up. But no, if I feel like if you want to put the time in, you can stay relevant. Buster still sound like y'all keep saying we young, but he still sound current, and that's just a matter of just putting in the time with your craft and spending time. But the love will never leave it because that's what we've been doing for so long, and you will never. And I don't know why you feel like that. It's just because you just don't practice like Buster. And Buster, he'd be like, "What's that chord?" And I'd be like, "Dude, you know the chord. You being lazy." So, and then now y'all saying that we younger than y'all, so now y'all want to pull that these young guys. No, we put in the same work, the same outcome. So that's my thought.
Okay, I got
If I can, Buster got something to say.
Go ahead, Marquita. Go ahead.
So I think that I'm gonna speak from both perspectives because I would rather sing than play. And so you'd be amazed at people who don't know I actually sing too. They just think I play. So I guess I can see where you're coming from about wanting to take a break because yeah, I wanted to do it too, but I've been playing for churches full time since I was 13 years old, and I'll be 34 Sunday, and I've never had to punch a clock. So because of that, I'll keep playing.
That's me though. I'm like that. I would rather sing or teach choirs, teach vocals than play. If I'm James ain't gonna like this, and I don't care. If I never played again, I would be okay with that. Buster, you were
So,
going to
James don't understand because he just started playing yesterday. Listen, I am 47 years old, okay? And I started playing drums when I was 7, violin when I was 8, piano when I was 9, trumpet when I was 10. I'm tired, so you can let me be tired. It's okay. The thing about it is, and I'm not saying I don't want to do it forever. I'm saying these guys are doing such a great job, and I don't mind playing, and I like playing around them because what it does is it elevates my playing. I like keeping them around. Like that's the reason why I kept Rob around. That's the reason why I kept James around, Thad, all the younger guys, because they brought the energy and then they brought the ideas. And so my job was to just teach them how to be a holistic musician. So I would talk to them about, hey, watch out with the girls. I would be like, hey, watch out with your money. Put your money somewhere. Hey, watch, you know what I'm saying? That would be my thing. And so I was more that part. And then even on the musician side, like teaching them how to play as a band, you know, all of them were good in their own respective rights, right? And so it took them a while to learn how to play as a cohesive band. And so it took me to use a few choice words. They say I used to say some bad words, but what I wanted to do was I knew I could create that magic if they would just learn to play together. And so for an older guy, and I'm not that old, I'm just saying for a guy who's been doing it a long time, that was for me, that was my aim, man. Get these dudes together. And they will tell you when they would get other gigs and stuff, and they was like, hey, I got to go make some money. I was like, go ahead. Because my job was to build them up, not to keep them. It's almost like a pastor. Like your job is not to keep the sheep. Like if the sheep want to go off and be with another, that's the difference between a shepherd and a pastor. So the shepherd always just want to keep the sheep. But a pastor wants to raise somebody up, man, and send them out. And so that was my job to do for them. Hey, raise them up, send them out. And then when they come back to me, they don't really charge me $5,000. They don't charge me like $1,000, you know?
Now, what's funny is hearing you say that, Buster. Yesterday, I ran into Dennis Smith.
Wow. Yeah, that was my teacher.
He taught me. I went to Dorland for a little bit.
That's where we met, Will.
Absolutely. I was there for a little bit, and I told him about the show tonight, and he said he was going to jump on. And he spoke so highly of you guys. Him being like, I idolized him when I was a kid. I was young, a teenager. You know what I'm saying?
Me too. I did.
And then I learned who Buster was, and I'm like, both of these cats was working at Dorland Academy, and like, they were so amazing to me, and I was honored just to say that I sat under Dennis.
Rob had a chance to sit with Dennis too, and Rob's dad, he got a long history with Dennis, long.
Yeah. So, Rob, I want to ask you because Sharina said earlier in the comments that I was there when you were born, and I'm like, yeah, that's right. But seeing that, and then April, I want you to pick this up. Seeing that back then, man, we were, and I'm going somewhere with this, y'all. We were killing Mississippi Mass Choir songs. We were killing Michael Fletcher songs. You know, L.A. Mass, Chicago Mass, even back then in the 90s. You know, we were killing major choir songs. But Rob, they're obviously, as time progresses, everything, the culture of everything changes. It does not, you cannot stay the same. That's why I posted that earlier. We don't have Daryl Coley no more. We don't have Thomas Whitfield no more. They've been ushered out, and the new has come in now. So, Dr. Alonzo Berry, good to see you, man. Thank you for joining us. Martise Murphy, my brother. Hey, everybody. I can't speak to y'all individually. Thank you all for joining. Please share this broadcast tonight. But there has been an evolution. There's been an evolution. So I want to ask Rob, in relation to what Buster said, what have you gained? Number one, what have you gained from him personally, from Buster personally? And secondly, how has the old way helped to cultivate you into the person, the musician that you are today? And then April, I want you to pick up when he's done.
Okay.
Well, I know one thing I took from Buster is tough love. You know what I'm saying? As far as your musicians, him and Dennis actually, Dennis threw shoes at me. But Buster would curse you out in front of the whole choir.
No, I don't use curse.
Yeah, well, he embarrassed you in front of the whole choir. Like,
thank you.
We did like a Tommy's tribute. It was like a Tommy's concert.
Yeah.
And I didn't learn
James, stop laughing.
I didn't learn Rest for the Weary right. And Buster like canceled the whole rehearsal. It was like the rehearsal before the night before the concert. And he went completely off and was like, everybody go home. Everybody go home. Rob don't know the music. And I was embarrassed, super embarrassed, everybody was laughing like James was laughing. But that was the whole room though.
Doing that. Y'all couldn't know.
That was the whole room though. But I found out later that everybody had that same story. Like everybody that Buster raised up had that same story. And it just taught me. Like I went home, I was practicing to like 5 a.m. Like, man,
what you do at that concert though?
I was pissed. I'm like, man, this is never happening to me.
At that concert though. Huh?
And, that just taught me to just prepare. Like you gotta prepare. Don't never come to an event or anywhere you gotta play. Never come unprepared, because this was an instance where he embarrassed me, but you will embarrass yourself out here. You know what I'm saying? If you come unprepared. So that's really what it taught me. Both of them really taught me to like learn the music for what it is. Then you can step out, you know what I'm saying? Because Buster's really busy. But but it was really like a discipline thing. They taught me a lot of discipline. And Buster really taught me how to like he used to give us these prep talks like before the gigs.
Mm-hmm.
He'd give us these prep talks like, hey man, I want y'all to go out here and kill these mobs. You know what I'm saying? So he kind of, you know what I'm saying, it's really discipline, and then he like inserted like a dog in you too. You know what I'm saying, on your instrument. So those are two things I picked up from him.
And I'm glad to say that Dennis is on with us right now. What's up, Dennis? Thank you for stopping by.
Yeah.
Dennis is the man. Come on, April. Let's hear from you.
And Buster may not remember this. Buster embarrassed me too.
Wait a minute.
He doesn't remember.
Is this the Buster song?
Now Buster's a few years younger than me, so I'm probably the oldest person here on this panel. And when Willie brought up Dora Lynn, I remember being like 17, maybe 16, 17, 18 years old, and I went to Dora Lynn to try to get vocal training. And when I walked into the school, Dorothy Bounds walked up to me because the school was kind of dark. No one was there. And she said, why are you here? I said, I want vocal training. And she said, sing something for me right now. And I started singing His Eye is on the Sparrow, but I was so raggedy. I was all over the place. You know, you hear the people do the runs. You think you can do them. In my head, they were right. But coming out of my mouth, they was wrong. And Dorothy Bounds told me, you can't sing, get out of here. And I said, hey, but she said, Buster, you know her? He was like, nope, and walked off. I was like, no, he didn't.
If you would have killed it, I would have said, yeah.
You remember that?
A little bit.
I was like, no, he didn't. I left Dorleen crying because I'm like, but I came for you to train me, and she kicked me out. This is what
rough.
I'm here for. But music has changed a lot, and I think that change started with Kirk Franklin. And I know you were eventually going to talk about that, but it started with Kirk Franklin. And I'll never forget, Kirk Franklin changed the face of gospel music. Now I know every generation has its genre of what they consider to be gospel music and what they consider to be gospel music. And everybody, once it changes over to the next generation with what they consider to be gospel music, the older generation get mad at it. So when Kirk Franklin came out, the first song that Kirk Franklin came out with that crackheads was on the corner singing was The Reason Why We Sing. And that's what changed gospel music. And I knew back then that something different was about to happen, because if you could get a crackhead to sing The Reason Why I'm Singing and they still out here smoking crack,
right?
What is happening in the minds of the people that they can still sing The Reason Why I'm Singing? Now, those people are not where they were because of The Reason Why I Sing. Kirk Franklin was a monster when it came to the music, and the reason he remains the way that he is because he not only changed our generation of music, but he changes with every generation that comes about. It's like he always revamps some type of way to not keep our generation interested, but the generations that came after us. When they were playing Stomp in the clubs,
definitely was playing Stomp.
They played Stomp in the clubs to death, and people was like, for real out there. Stomp at the skating rinks, everything. Kirk Franklin was and is the beast of all times. He is the GOAT of gospel music for our generation.
So then, and I agree with everything y'all have said. So let's talk about that, because he, like I said when we started, when the others were being ushered out, here comes a Kirk Franklin and says, let's change the culture of this thing. And he was successful.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm just going to use her for an example, and don't nobody kill me. This is my opinion. Vicki Winans tried that.
She did.
And it did not work for her.
That was not her vein.
Because to me, she was a traditional gospel music singer. It was
not her vein. It was not her vein.
And when she tried to change with the culture, it didn't work for her. You know what I'm saying? So some people are able to adapt, James, with the times. And Rob said something when he was talking before, and I want to kind of just make that a segue into this. When he said Buster would give y'all the pep talk, like, hey, y'all go out there and kill him, right? So now that was one of my questions I wanted to bring up tonight. And all of you all, Alonzo said, but Vicky fine though. You go ahead and get her, bro. All right, Pastor P. So let's just take that pep talk for example, and I get it because we've all done it. I mean, all of us who are over a set of musicians or a choir person, we've all done it, I'm sure, at some point. So when you have people, artists, let's move a bit. When you have artists who are worship leaders, okay, let's go there.
That's two different things too.
That's where I'm going, and that's why I want to know. And I'm gonna tell you why I'm getting ready to ask this question. Should the artist stand up before the congregation, or should the person, the worship leader, stand up before the congregation? Now, here's why I asked, and I want to hear from James. I listened to Miranda Curtis's live recording, the one where she did Open Heaven. And at the end of her CD, she was just scatting and doing some freestyling. And she said she was happy that she was able to do that because she can't do that as a worship leader. And then she was like some of y'all do, out of control. And I thought about it, I'm like, man, so when you're an artist, do you not get to be the artist when you're doing worship, James?
I think it's a balance is well needed. I think, people forget that, we are singing to people. That's what makes you an artist. And then you got the other part where you work serving in church, which is the worship part. And that's the heart posture part of it, is you've been a worship leader. And an artist, I think it's just two different worlds. And I think that it should be a well balance. I play with Todd, so he knows he's a worship leader. But when we get on stage, it's gotta be a balance. It's about presence and production. With being a worship leader, it's about the presence. When you're an artist, it's about the production of it. How making sure you sound exactly like your record when you go out. So I think it go hand in hand.
Marquita?
I think James nailed it. I would say the same thing. When you're an artist, that people are expecting a certain thing from you. Especially if you have records and stuff out there looking for a certain thing. But when you're in church, it's totally different. You are there to help people engage with the Father. So it's a separate thing.
Buster, go ahead.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole thing with that is I have seen artists try to be worship leaders, and it's a disaster. I have seen worship leaders try to be artists. It was a disaster. So it's very rare that you catch the ones that can do both. And the ones that can do both are some of the most amazing gifts that we have in the body of Christ. But I have seen those tragedies happen, and people go like, "Yeah, they kill it," but when they do worship, it'd be like, "Nah, that ain't it." Or when they sing, they trying to worship, and we really want to hear the singing. We don't really want to hear. We try to see what you got. So it depends on where you are. Like James said, it needs to be a healthy balance. Somebody like Todd, who I've been knowing since. Listen, Todd was running around in his underwear. I was kicking over his brother's house. Me and his brother were real tight, Tory. And so I've been knowing Todd for a very long time. And Todd, what I would say about Todd is very astute. So he studied a lot. So he studied people like Smokey Norfolk. He studied Kirk Franklin. He studied the worship leaders like Ron Kenoly. If you talk to him, he'll tell you about those worship leaders that he studied, Alvin Slaughter, and people like that he holds in high esteem. And so when you're astute and you're a student of your craft, you take that time out to be able to hone what you want. And what Todd wanted was a healthy mix of both. And he was great at. He was doing worship at Smokey's church, and then when it was time for him to step out and do his own thing, I remember he was like, "Man, I'm gonna do this." I remember talking to him on the phone, like, "Man," he was like, "Man, I hope God really keep His hand on me." I'm like, "Man, He gonna bless you." And the boy is amazing. I don't call him a boy. Young man is amazing now. So it needs to be a healthy mix of both. And when you speak in artists versus worship, I don't know if you want to say some kind of way we should be able to merge the two at all times, but also at the same time, when you're coming to do a certain job, that's the job that people want. The people want an artist, give them artistry. The people want worship, give them worship.
And this is just me. I feel that if I come to your Sunday morning service, I don't want to hear Todd the artist. I'm just using him since we just mentioned. I'm just throwing that out there. I don't want to hear the artist. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. But at the same time, Pastor Zoe, he said one word. I'm gonna put it back up there. Placement.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Miranda's a good example of that. Miranda, like you said, Miranda was saying you up on the bench. I'm talking about just like saying like Kim Burrell type run type stuff. Then when it's time for her to do her thing, like to be worship leader, she has that. And so it's very, like I said, it's very rare that you get those. When you do get those, they have the double, then you got to thank God for them.
the other part of it is what you were saying, Pastor Will, as the screen say. I think when you invite these people to whatever the occasion is, I think that like you said, you don't want to hear the artist. I think that you should call that person for that situation, because like it's some gigs that Ty won't accept because it'll have him to conform, and like he don't want to conform. Like this, like me. I enjoy playing worship music, and me and Buster, we laugh, we talk all the time. I don't care about the church playing like that. I don't care about that. So for me, I want to do what I want to do, and I like setting atmospheres. That's something that I love to do. And Buster, I mean, he could do that too, but he churchy too. But I don't really care about the church part of it. I like that. That's what I like, and that don't mean that he's better or greater. It's just if you want that to happen, or you want me to be a part of that, you want to call me for that. Now, if you having to shut in and y'all shouting all day, you don't want to call me because I'm not gonna really be there. You get what I'm saying? Now,
you can do it though. That's the problem.
But my heart, if we talking about, I'm not. It ain't about what I can do. It ain't. I'm saying, y'all get what I'm saying, right? I'm saying I have a preference though. My preference is that.
Absolutely.
So that's my preference. So I feel like regarding artistry and all of that. I think you should call them based on whatever it is. Like if you want an encounter, you're gonna, we're gonna call Simon's Rain. And if you want to have a good time, you want somebody to shout you, we're gonna call Tim White. And I'm not, it ain't no disrespect, but I'm just saying, like that's that he's a church singer.
That's his vein. That's his vein.
Yeah. Exactly. So I feel like we just have to know whatever that world looks like for them, and whatever you're trying to convey over your congregation or whatever. So
Rob, Eric says artistry has always been prominent in the church. Thomas Dorsey brought artistry with him into the church. Now, I don't know. I'm maybe I'm different because I'm not an artist. I'm really on the fence with that thing because, and that's why I made the distinction between the two. And I'm glad y'all said that if I want you, if I'm getting you for a concert, then bring the artist. I don't want Sunday morning if I'm getting you for a concert. Come on, give me everything you got. I want the choreographed dances and all that. You know what I'm saying? But if this is just me. If it's a Sunday morning service, leave all that because that's not what we're here for, right? But there seems to be, Rob, I want to hear from you first. There seems to be this level of artistry, or I hate to use the word performance, but I think that to some degree there may be a bit of performance in there. Talk about that, Rob.
In a sense, I feel like in the church setting, you still want the artist only because you still want it to sound good. Like you still want the professionalism of it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then like I know a lot of worship leaders that can really shout. They can shout at church, but they sound really bad. You know what I'm saying? So it's not going. You want the artist to kind of, I guess the artistry for professionalism, and then you want the worship leader for like the presence and that type of stuff. But the performance thing, I just believe, honestly, this is just me personally, I believe that if Lady Gaga can have likes, I think that God can have likes too. You know what I'm saying?
Right, I feel you.
I believe that if she can have the big screen, I believe God can have the big screen too. I mean, I believe that's one of the areas where we kind of lost, like the next generation, or the person that hasn't grown up in church. Like they don't really know hymns, and they don't want to hear your deacon singing, at the tithes and offering table. Like they want to see a production. You know what I'm saying? And then once you reel them in,
that is true.
You know what I'm saying? Then you can kind of deposit what you need to deposit into them. But I believe that's kind of where the church has fallen short. the production and the artistry.
April, did you have something?
Yeah, because I have a mixed media type church. So I have older people and I have younger people. And being one of the praise and worship leaders, we try to find a balance where we have to do something to cater to the older people the same way we cater to the younger people, because we don't want anybody to feel neglected or left out. Like, we trying to push all the older people out of the church because we doing all the young stuff. Yeah, we have all the frills and the thrills with the lights and drums and the saxophone and the bass and the lead and all the other stuff. But every now and then, I like, especially on first Sundays. To me, first Sundays is let's go to church, old school, churchy, bring it. I know it was the blood, whether we hype it up or whether we tone it down, but it's got to be something that the older people can connect to, because we don't want them to feel neglected in the church.
So do you lose your younger people on the first Sunday?
No, because we've changed how we did the song. So like if we sing "Oh, the Blood of Jesus" by Willie James Campbell, but God bless his soul, if we sing that, we have churched it up in the end. We'll sing it the traditional way so the older people understand what it is, but at the end, we take off. It's out of there. Everybody gets into it. Everybody. It's just got to be something for everybody at church. You just can't focus on one generation at the church.
James.
So I agree, but then I disagree with that statement only because, like I said, me and Buster, we always argue, man. Like I remember, like 2009, like Buster, him and Pastor D, I didn't get embarrassed for not knowing him. And right now, 2020, I don't play hymns for a living. So that don't help me to be who I am today. So I was always told, man, you in order to make it in this music business, you gotta know hymns. I don't play. I know the ones that we sing in church. I'm not finna go learn the ones that's in the back of the book where I'm not like, that ain't what I'm finna learn. So the point of what I'm making is this. I feel like
Jesus, help me.
That's how I feel, and I could be wrong.
Hey, I'm with you, James.
Yeah,
I'm with
he
you,
used
bro.
to tell me, man, you don't know this, man, you ain't gonna be successful. And I'm like, dude, I didn't been, I in the most humblest way, I done been around the world not playing none of those songs. So I don't need that to be successful. So that wasn't true. And the other part
live, because that was your foundation, bro. Don't do that.
No, I'm not saying that.
And guess what? Those hymns.
Oh, you didn't
don't get me started. Musicians.
Get it out.
Because what those hymns did was it taught you foundation, and it taught you chord progression and stuff that you wouldn't have, that you learned, and that so that when you heard them in other genres and when you wanted to incorporate them in your arrangements and stuff, that's where the stuff came from the very foundation of what you learned in gospel music. So you cannot negate the fact that foundation of music helped you to get to this area. I'm not saying that you're not gonna need it now, because you probably don't. But now let me tell you something. What is Todd Delaney doing during his shows? Hymns. Come on, don't do that to me. Now you're gonna make
you miss. Calm down. You missed everything that I said. You missed everything that I said. I didn't say that I don't really like playing.
You played a hymn in Africa.
Yeah, I did.
You did it around the world. You know what I'm saying?
Listen to what I'm saying, man. What I'm saying is that you said that in order to be successful, I have to know all of the hymns.
No, I wasn't saying all.
That's what you were saying. Y'all used to sit us down. Hold on. Pastor D used to sit us down after G3 rehearsal. I'm holding his mic while he teaching me the song, and I'm like, I don't even care about. Like, I don't want to learn this song. Like, why you making me learn this song?
And we lost the host.
He'll be back.
Yeah, he said he was on the HP.
Oh, okay, all right.
HP. But like that ain't what I'm saying. I'm not killing that. But I'm just saying what y'all told me, and I'm saying as in y'all as the older people that was before me, and say, hey man, you gotta do this, man. And I'm like, well, I don't want to do that. Like, you're gonna force me to do something that I don't want to do. And I'm not saying if it wasn't for the hymns, I wouldn't be. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that like I'm not. I don't want to be the typical church musician. And in order to be that, you have to.
You don't have to be the typical church musician, but don't you want to be the musician that's knowledgeable?
Yeah, I think I know, like the ones that I know. I know the typical hymns that we sing in church. Yes, Lord. Yes. You know,
God.
I know the typical ones that we sing in church. So
Look at
so
Rob.
and I'm
Look
gonna
at
use.
Rob. Yo, it's only
So
5.
look,
It's only a good
hold on. So like Pastor D, he called me the other week. I mean, it was probably before the pandemic. He was like, "Hey man, I need you to come play for me." I was like, "You don't need me to come play for you." I said, first of all, you're gonna sing a song that I never heard of, and it's gonna be from the Tommies, not Tommies. What's the name of the group? The Hawkins. I don't know none of that. Like, I'm not a fan, so I'm not gonna play it. Right? And I'm just being honest. It's a panel, and I'm just sharing.
You're not a fan of the Hawkins family. What's wrong?
Nah,
Oh
but
Lord.
I was born in '87.
Now you know. Now you gotta learn that thing.
Now I know Hawkins.
I've been telling him that.
Let's start on the records, bro.
So let
See,
me.
this is what we've been fighting. We've been fighting like this, Willie, for about.
And
10 years.
y'all gonna keep fighting like this.
It's my preference, though. It's my preference.
And I want to ask Marquita, what type because again, everything that you all are talking about, this speaks to the culture of a certain church. Marquita, what is the culture of the church that you play for?
Okay, so I play for 2 churches. My home church has always relatively been a young church. And so although we have a small mother section and a few people past 50, they actually get with the newer stuff sometimes more they do, traditional stuff. But because I respect the fact that we have them, if we're doing praise and worship, I'll slip a hymn in at the end. Just in case that song we did they couldn't fully relate to, then I'll throw a hymn at the end. You do I need thee, and then just send the church up because I know they can relate to it. Now I play for Jordan Temple and Hillside, totally different dynamic because their church is more mature than it is younger, and so Pastor Richardson is trying to find a balance to keep his young people, but then he has people over 40 running his music ministry, so it's a little harder with them, trying to keep them relevant in what's going on and have the balance for his seniors too. So you definitely need both though in the church field. Not Lil James, because Lil James is a traveling artist. He's not his main goal. His main goal in life is not to be a church musician, and I think that's what he means when he says.
And he set out for that to be his
life. But Buster, I came from under Buster, and he can't accept that I don't want to be a church organist.
I mean, and I get that. If
you are,
but you are.
I don't know. I'm not. Okay, call me the sub. When you call me the sub, do I come?
I want to hear what April is saying.
Okay, I'm sorry.
The platform that you're on right now has allowed you to travel, whether it's in the United States, whether it's across the waters. It allows you to travel, but the platform that you're on allows you to only play what you want to play. But what happens when you come back home? And sometimes the service shifts and it takes you to that hill.
So I can do it.
Question.
I can do it. I can do it. Anybody that know me know that I can do it. We're talking about preference. And we're talking about, what I enjoy doing. And I don't think I'm not discrediting that. I'm not discrediting like my mom. I'm not killing that. I'm saying, okay, so like I got some sons, right? They may know about hymns. Hymns maybe it still be relevant in 20 years, but I'm saying it may be something totally different. As far as the genre of gospel, it may be, I don't know what that is, but it's gonna be different.
Lord, you are good is now basically a hymn. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now what's happening is there is a transition that we realize Lord, you are good is now should be almost in the hymn book. You know what I'm saying?
I think that James would be more suited to play for a church like my church. My pastors are on, my apostles are on, and we are a multicultural, international church. We have churches in Africa and some everywhere. But we, believe it or not, even though we are predominantly African American, we have a sprinkle of every race and international and nationality in our church. However, we are about 90% CCM. 90%, no joke, no exaggeration at all. And so I kind of get James when he's saying that. Now I see both sides of it, because like myself, I can go and sit down on the organ if I chose to, and I could take you straight on to church. And I could also, and I've gotten comfortable with being a keyboardist that can just flow out with like the Christian contemporary sound. And and let's just go into that now because of what James is saying, and Buster don't like it.
It's okay. It's okay.
Can I say something?
That this argument, so to speak, will never ever end. The gospel sound versus the CCM sound. And one guy, he might be watching tonight. I don't care. I ain't gonna call his name, but it irritates me because he calls CCM 7-Eleven music, and it really, really irritates me because we have a lot. And I'm just gonna say this. I'm gonna say it for what it is. We have a lot of black people that just don't like that sound. They can't get with that sound because it doesn't, it don't feed their emotions, a lot of people. But for me, if I want to get to the throne room, I will grab me some Hillsong. I'll grab me some Todd Delaney. And now check this out. What a lot of these people that's putting down Christian contemporary music don't know is that a lot of these songs that our African American famous gospel singers are singing today, they got it from them.
They did. They did.
Pastor Cobbs did not write or start Break Every Chain, for example. It was already out.
Mm-hmm.
But because she got it and started hollering with it, everybody just fell in love with it. So I feel like there's a difference. And if James is more comfortable with playing worship music as opposed to bumping us to death, I think that's okay. That should be okay. But I do think you need a healthy balance of both.
I agree. So I have some friends that I got some Latino friends and I got some other culture friends that they grew up in church as well, and it's totally different. But because I'm black and I grew up in a black church, it has to look like the black way. Why is that? Why is that? Like, why is that a thing? Because I grew up in the black church. Like, it got to look like the rest of the black people. Like I just don't agree with that because the world is so broad. Like, Jesus is broad, but because I grew up in the black church, it got to look like what the rest of the black people. Like, when we sat down, we learned him. This is how we did it. Why I got to be like that? But because you did it, and because your granddaddy taught you, and his granddaddy taught him that same way. Like, why can't it just be like, hey man, hey, if that's what you want to do, like, hey, go for it. But it got to be like, no, you got to do this. That's the part that irritates me. Like, everybody over here, like, well, church me, do this. I don't agree with that. Like, I feel like you're entitled to your own opinion. Rob is entitled, and he's a songwriter. Bus is a songwriter. Like Marquita, like, we all doing what we want to do in our own fields. And when it comes to Jesus, Jesus is broad. So whether I want to play 3-finger chords, and I'm okay with that. Like, why can't I do what satisfies me? Like, why I gotta do what the system said I gotta do, which is play it like this. I gotta wear a suit on first Sundays because that's what we've been doing for 50 years. No. I gotta wear black and white. No, I'm just saying. I'm done.
No, Alonzo said Jesus is black. That's why you gotta do
it. Shut up, Alonzo.
My good friend Brandon, and Brandon is a musician as well. And Brandon, for example, he can play church, he can play Christian, he plays classical music even. I just think it should be a healthy balance. Now, Rob, let's talk about your project for a minute. What is that? What is your album? What genre does your album follow?
It's more so like fusion, jazz fusion.
Okay. So now Robert Laws, we're gonna have it out because he just asked the question, and this is why why the nation of black folks keep arguing about this subject. Do we think one has more power? No, I don't think one has more power than the other. I think that it depends on the person. I think that it depends on the person. I think that it depends on their personal relationship with God. I'm telling you, I could listen to, I can listen to anything. I like it all. Right. But it depends on where I am and where I want to be that lets me know what I need to listen to. And this past week, I got a whole playlist of like 100 and some songs, nothing but choir music, nothing but that.
Send that to me.
I sent it to you. And then I got another playlist with my worship music. You know what I'm saying? With the Christian contemporary music. I think it just depends on the person, whether you playing it, singing it, or just listening to it. I don't know.
Well, it depends on what you do too, because I do, like I just said, send me the choir list because I do choir music. You know what I'm saying? And I do praise and worship too, but not to that extent. I do praise and worship at church, and then I listen to it too. Listen, I'm not totally against CCM or worship music. I was a avid fan of the early worship leaders like Ron Canoli, Martha Menezes, and Israel Houghton and Al Slaughter and people like that. I'm love that music and even the way it's evolved, I love it. I'm not taking away from it. All I'm saying is for some people who like James, he doesn't have a need for the hard gospel stuff because he doesn't dwell in that every week. I gotta dwell in it every week, so that's why I need it. That's all. It's just where it's needed, you know.
April,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rob.
Right. I don't have an issue with CCM music. I actually like CCM music. However, it's for me to like. But when I have to cater to what's in the walls of the church, then I have to find what meets their needs. My church is definitely not a CCM church whatsoever. It's real hard to get them into praise and worship. So we try our best to get them into that. If not, they will be statues sitting there looking at us, and we'll be there like drilling into them to what's going on, and then it turns into a bump. I can't bump every single. It's like
For real.
It's unnecessary, and I have a talk with the praise and worship team all the time because I know how hard it is that we up here giving our all and we pouring out all of ourselves unto God and into our audience to try to draw people in, and they just sitting there looking at you. Now, how can we be lost into what we're thinking about, what God has done for us, and the people that's up there or sitting out there looking at us ain't moved? Where's the disconnect?
Let's hear from Rob. He had something, I think.
I just think it's the preference. A lot of people call it the sound of the house or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like if I go to Destiny, I'm not gonna sing the anthem. You know what I'm saying? It's just not. That's just not what they do.
You can though.
But it still got to be a little dirty though. You know,
gotta have a little something on it.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna go to like Calvary, Naperville, and sing. What's the dude from New York that be wearing the suits?
James Hall.
I'm not gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? I just think it's a preference thing.
New York that be wearing the suits.
Yeah, I think it's a preference thing.
That's what we know about.
And then it's the preference in a person. Like, you know what I'm saying? Of course, CCM came from like, I believe, you know, the white people made it popular. You know what I'm saying? It's their thing. But that's just for music history. Period. Like, that's just period.
I want to hear from Marquita. Latasha, I'm gonna send you that my playlist also. Mark Stennis.
Sending it to everybody, just so.
I guess I better send it to everybody. Mark Stennis, you send me that cleaning playlist you got. I want that. John says that you have to know your audience and your demographic. Same thing that we said initially. Culture. It's the culture of the church, of whatever church that is. CCM are the residue of Black gospel music.
That's what I believe. That's what I believe.
Yes, it is.
You better believe that.
I believe it's the same with everything. Rock and roll and country is a watered down blues.
You better believe it. Now that's why I say I teach a lesson.
Now I truly believe that back when CCM was birthed, you know what I'm saying? I just believe it was another way for them to do something else because they couldn't play James Hall. They just couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? Which is why their stuff is like 3-finger chords, and a lot of people say it's thin and it's all of that. That's just their thing. They couldn't do what we was doing at that time. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't do no bum bum bum, no joy. That was just too. It was just too advanced for them. I don't know, like on the Five Heartbeats when they came in, Shannon, ain't got no money. They was trying to, you know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. They was just trying to water it down so that they people can understand it. That's all it is.
So I want to say to everybody, I just believe, and I'm looking at all the comments. I agree with everybody. I do think that and I cannot say this enough. It depends on the church. It depends on the artist. It depends on your personal preference.
Mm-hmm.
But as a musician and a vocalist, I think we all can agree that you need to be able to do it all.
True.
Absolutely.
Can we agree on that?
Period.
True.
All right. That works for me. Marquita, do you feel right now, because y'all in the industry, do you feel that the music that's coming out now, do you feel like it's watered down? Is it a watered down gospel?
Well, I mean, like Rob said, CCM is kind of like a piggyback off of gospel. I don't know if it's watered down. I think it's about preference. And if you like gospel music, and then CCM, all that you hear now, like you hear a lot of people talk about bring the choir back, because all we see is praise teams now. I mean, but you already know church is kind of going to do what's popular anyway. And even though we should have balance, the church is pretty much going to conform to what's out. And if you don't really have a lot of choir music being pushed out, then you kind of have to switch over to what's being pushed out to keep the newness in your ministry. One thing I will say though about CCM, I feel like those who are minister music and worship pastors and stuff like that, when you have a multicultural church, I don't know if CCM should be the only ground of music that you present. And I think for me, that's sort of an issue I have with it. My mom relocated to Kentucky, and it's a country state. It's not a plethora of Black people, but the churches that she was visiting were all multicultural. And Universal is a churchy church. Now they can conform to whatever we play and what we sing, but they're pretty much churchy. And although she loves praise and worship, she loves CCM, sometimes you're looking for something that represents you too in a multicultural church. And so I feel like worship pastors, they have to take that in consideration too when you're picking your music for your church, that you don't just leave everybody out and be like, oh, CCM is universal, so we just gonna sing this one type of Christian music and that's it.
Okay, so let's switch gears a minute.
Hey, right quick, Calvary in Nashville is good for trying to integrate all types of music. They will do some gospel stuff. They will do some even living word. Sometimes they try it. They will incorporate the gospel stuff in with the CCM. So some churches are aware of that. And then now, even as a school teacher, we have to be mindful of songs that we even teach our children, because now they don't want us to do like minstrel songs and stuff. Old songs like that have to do with slavery and stuff like that were built around racism and things like that. So we have to be very sensitive to our audience. And so if we have some Black people in the audience that went to another church, they want to hear that every now and then. And like I said, Jamel I wish Jamel was on this panel, because Jamel will tell you at Calvary, they mix it up just a little bit and they'll add a gospel number or two, like maybe once or twice a month in their repertoire.
Condemning one or the other, Ms. Campbell says, shows the lack of beauty for diversity in our Christian communities. Versatility is a gift to every industry, but it's not in every one, unfortunately. Couldn't agree with that more. One of my personal mentors is on. A-Dub is my man. How you doing, A-Dub? Thank you for stopping by. Yeah, I agree with that. If you have the multicultural church like mine, for example, yeah, I'm with Josie. Do a combination. Do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So let's switch up for a minute here, and I wanted it's months old, but I wanted to bring this up because you all are in the industry, and not just gospel music. You're in other genres, doing your thing and doing it well. Uh, Paco Walls. I wasn't gonna hit this because people get a little touchy on certain situations, but this is my show. I can talk about what I want to talk about. Paco, who of course is from the Walls group, he made some very, very strong statements about the culture. He made strong statements about Kirk Franklin and Kirk Franklin's label. We all know what he said, and I just let you all can just have at it. I'll start with April. Do you believe? Don't
I remember the culture thing. I don't remember the label.
Well, he basically said that I should have sent it to y'all. That Kirk was and his label wanted to basically pay them peanuts, okay, and wanted them to do all this performing and stuff, and to use them for their name. And I don't agree with that because Kirk Franklin's name stands on its own.
Well, that's the music business, though.
But it's the music business. But should it be so, Rob, in the gospel music industry?
Yep.
I mean, business is business.
Oh,
absolutely.
My thing is this: McDonald's got you frying fries, and you gonna make now they making billions of dollars, but just because your fries taste better don't mean that you finna make.
Okay.
It's business, you know what I'm saying? And from the boss's executive point of view, if I can get you to work for a little or nothing and make me, I mean, it's really just a battle, you know what I'm saying? And if I can come out on top financially and you doing all the work, that's good business on their part. That's just how it is. I mean, that's just music business all around. It's not. I mean, that's not just a Kirk Franklin thing. That's just music business. It's 1,000 people. It's 1,000 artists with that same story. We watch them all the time. New Edition, all of them. It's the same. It's really the same.
I think because we try to look at it as gospel.
They think it's supposed to be a different standard.
Jesus. No, it's business. Because if you hype me, whatever we agree to, that's what we agree to. It's a written contract because we verbally, we said it. Whatever we agree to, that's what it is. And I feel like we try to bring Jesus in later on, and Jesus wasn't the center at the top of it. Like we ain't saying let's pray, let's make sure that we both making the right decision. Now it's like
I mean, even if you do that, you can't go in like if you have a contract dispute, you can't go in there like, Your Honor, I signed this contract, but Your Honor, I go to church, so can you just do something for me? That ain't gonna work. It's business. It's business.
You can't be like, we prayed about this thing, so why he being bogus to me?
They don't want to hear that.
The bottom line is whatever you sign on the business, and so that in different genres, no matter what it is, R&B, hip hop, no matter what it is, if you're a music business entity such as a record label like Kirk's label, he's still going to do what he needs to do. Now, I think Paco was saying that they was overdoing and not being taken care of for what they were doing. Now, if you feel like you're being used, but you agreed to these things, then that's what you have to uphold. You know what I'm saying? If this is what you agreed to, this was if you had a binding contract, and this is the way what you signed in the beginning, and just because y'all took off, because they did take off really fast. They took off faster than a lot of people thought they were going to take off. But at the same time, signing with Kirk probably was to their demise, because if you pay attention to it, they haven't done as well since they've been with Kirk. So it's almost like they should have stayed independent and continued to that uptick like they were doing at first. But when you connect yourself with an artist like a Kirk Franklin, you thinking like, man, we good, man. We gonna we're gonna make it happen. So we got to make sure that we stay. I mean, it's a binding contract. It is what it is, and that's that. And again, he felt a certain type of way on a personal side when he probably didn't have nothing to do with signing the papers. It was all his daddy. You know what I'm saying? Mom and dad.
I was going to say, you mad
So
at
all
Kirk
about the
Franklin,
business.
but
It's
you're
all
not
about
mad
the
at the
business.
person who negotiated the contract. That don't make sense.
So everybody says it's all about the business of it, and I get it, and I agree. Even those that are viewing and commenting and talking about the negotiation, that makes a whole lot of sense. So let's come back local for a minute. April, you have been doing what you've been doing for 30 years plus. Do you? No. Let me back that up. Should worship leaders, number one, should they get paid? Number two, should they sign a contract if it's not their home church? And I don't want none of y'all in these comments talking about should the choir members get paid. We're not doing that tonight. We're not going to do that on this show. We're talking about musicians, worship leaders. Do you feel that a worship leader should receive payment as does a musician?
We gonna put April in the pickle.
April from the old school. I
I
can't
ain't never seen that.
Scripturally, I'm laughing because I know the pastor and the first lady may be watching this.
Right. But go ahead and tell your truth.
Right.
Tell your truth.
Scripturally, the Bible says that the only people to get paid are the chief musicians and the priests. The priests and the chief musicians are the ones who are supposed to get paid. So scripturally, yes, we should get a piece of the bread. But my situation is, I know the situation of the church, and not just with having knowledge of the situation of the church. The pastor and the first lady would be my brother-in-law and my sister. So I am comfortable with not, because I understand there's a greater need. I'm due for the greater good. And I feel like, you know how the scripture says, my works will speak for me. I consider this part of my works.
Okay.
So I'm perfectly fine with being paid with whatever God has for me, not necessarily with finances.
Okay.
That's just
I want the money. I want finance.
Right. That's my
because that's what he got for you.
Right. It's different for me because I got 500 jobs. I do a lot of stuff, so I can deal with not having that because I do everything else.
Yeah.
Your husband taking up for you.
Yeah, I see Stan on that.
They should be paid. You see, that's the husband. Like, absolutely, they should be paid every week. I get it, Rev. That's right. You better take up for your wife. I would do the same thing for my wife too.
Stan needs to get on that grill when we have another 50-degree weather day. Marquita, come on.
I do believe worship leaders should get paid, especially if they're the ones teaching the team, having rehearsals. It's all depending on, I guess, it's depending on the church too. Because of course you got your small church, your mega churches, and all of the stuff. It depends on the situation. I play at my home church, and I'm a worship leader. I've never added a fee to my pay for me leading worship too. It's my home church though. Now, if it was another situation, and we went to the table, and you want me to lead worship and play organ and teach your choir, then yeah, that's gonna be all factored in. But do I believe they should? Yes, because it's a lot of responsibility. You gotta pick the music, you gotta go over with musicians. You know, it's a lot to it, especially if you're a teacher. So yeah, it should be compensation.
Now I'm gonna dive into this. And I want to hear from Buster first. And then y'all can just pick this apart if you want to. I watched Marquita and James were on Pastor Martine Murphy. He did one of these a few months ago. And I asked the question, And just the other night, I think maybe it was last night, a young lady that I'm on Facebook with, Buster. You know what? I'm gonna try to go to it, but she said that pretty much she was sick and tired of these musicians not wanting to get no job. And let me see. Here's what she said. I found it, and I'm gonna quote her word for word. She says, "I'm about to ruffle some feathers here, but I remember when the church musicians actually went to your church and held an auxiliary and not hop church to church just for a check. And you wonder why don't nobody shout when you play that little bump. You ain't got no Holy Ghost, just there for a check."
Oh, wow.
Okay.
I think he was a little bit upset.
I will say,
want next on this one.
right.
Let me
Pick it apart.
You know what? Let me let the young fellas go because I think it's very heated. It's very heated, and then I'll go after them. I'll give it some balance when they finish because they about to go crazy.
So let me go first. Then Rob, he go blow us away. I personally think because we consider our church the home church, they should be the first group of people that should be making sure that we taken care of. That's number one. So I think whether you singing worship, playing keyboard, whatever is being asked, they should be able to compensate you for that or kind of meet you somewhere. Because I feel like they, and then we got to leave our home church to take care of our family. Then we roam when we got to leave to go take care of our family. And I never worked, like she said, I never worked a regular. I mean, I tried, but it just never worked out. But I'm grateful that God, allowed me to go to school. I did go to school for a few semesters to learn how to read and to learn theory. So, I went to school to do what I can do so I can get paid. Just like if a doctor go to school, whatever. I feel like when you go to school and when you get your education to be better at what God called you to do, you should get compensated for that at your home church.
But if ain't nobody checking for you, then I think you need a job because everybody ain't no y'all. Y'all don't have to work regular jobs. You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead, Rob, because
that's true. That's true. I mean, my thing is this. They be upset when the musicians don't know the music, right?
Okay.
But he won't have time to learn the music if he's at work. If he's doing the 9 to 5, if he's at work from 9 to 5 and rehearsal at 7, what time do he have to learn the music?
Okay.
Second,
it can be done, Rob. There are many musicians who do.
Oh, it can be done.
Well, I mean, I ain't stressing myself out. I ain't doing it.
That's the millennial.
And my thing is,
we used to be like, man, I gotta go learn this music and go work my job. Oh my God, they not trying to do that.
I commend you. We stand on y'all shoulders, but we're not doing that.
And that's why hold on. That's why you stand on our shoulders.
Yeah,
we have to do that. So that's why I agree.
That's what I'm saying. We saying the same thing. Also, you wondering why your daughter's pregnant, right? We needed a car.
Oh,
we couldn't pay for it because y'all don't want to pay us.
Oh.
Okay.
And then she got pregnant from you driving her car.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do when you need a car.
Oh man!
Right? Now let's have a real talk. Let's have a real talk. We have a real church talk, right? They say like the musicians are the hoes.
It's
correct. Right.
Oh, Jesus.
But these are the same people that y'all don't want to pay. So you don't want to pay us. Who else getting paid in the church? You know what I'm saying? Who else getting paid in the church? This is the issue. My thing is pay us. We can do our jobs well. Y'all won't have to worry about us being on time. We can get us a car. We can pay our car note. We don't have to ask the pastor to run us a little extra because we're running behind on our rent. You know what I'm saying? The same stuff. We get the same curses. You know what I'm saying? None of the musicians, we all had our license suspended, right?
Nah.
All of them that had their license suspended.
I had a boot though. I had a few boots.
You didn't have it up. You didn't have a boot. We won't have to worry about that if we sitting comfortable.
You right?
Can I jump in? Because I'm a little older than James and Bob. So one thing I will say, the two of them can speak from their perspective because of where they play and who they are now in the music industry. But for the ones that's just making $150 a Sunday, let me tell you what the pandemic taught you. You need to have a real job.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, when the storefront that couldn't stay open during the pandemic, they want to go stream live, you lost your $150 a Sunday, then what?
Rob,
So I get Rob in James' position. Because you all are at churches where they're streaming live, they're pre-recorded, and you can make a substantial living doing what you do every Sunday without having a 9 to 5. But for the real local musician, I mean local, your corner church musician, don't flex. Having a 9 to 5 is not a bad thing. Get a 9 to 5 because you need that. And then for those that's not paying taxes out their money, you won't to pay your Social Security and stuff and have stuff laid up in your future. So for the young ones that might be watching this, when you get to this status up here, like Rod and James, you can make $2,000 a Sunday. That's fine. But when you still making $100 and a chicken dinner, then go get you a 9 to 5. It's all right to work hard and you ain't going to hurt.
Let's be clear. Ain't nobody making no money like Rob and James making. All right, let's be clear about that.
Hey, Buster been out of service. Buster, he get paid when he ain't even there.
Buster's the one.
Don't do that.
Buster's like the assistant. If it wasn't for Buster, it wouldn't be no Destiny Worship Center. He's the pastor. He's the pastor.
Okay,
he's the pastor at Destiny Worship Center.
Good night. No, listen to me, guys. First of all, let me say this lady, man. She's archaic. Okay, she's from the art ages, and she is from I don't know. Here's the thing: when I was young, and I'm gonna start it to you like this. When I started playing music, I was 7 years old playing in church. I wasn't getting no check at 7. You know why? Because that was the church I was born in. You know what I'm saying? So this is totally different. A lot of people that are members of churches now were not born in their churches. Musicians were not born in their church, and they don't have that connection to their church like that. So for a long time, I didn't get paid. I never got paid. Never got a check at my home church. And then guess what? When I got 16, Dennis found me, and Dennis said, "Hey, you're ready. Let's go play for Angie Spivey." So I was getting money with Angie Spivey. Okay, that's how my first check. God bless her. My first money was from playing for Angie Spivey. Okay, after I got through playing for Angie, then God opened that door for me to play for Corinthian Temple at the age of 18. So I was able to move on, and I had to talk with my home pastor. Like I said, I will be at church on Sunday nights, but I can't. I need to step out and do something different. And he gave me his blessing because he did not want to hold me back. He wanted me to do something. So then I went on and moved on to Progressive. And then I went with Pastor D to help him establish and plant his church. So when God allows you to be in a place where you have built it's different. James has helped some pastors build. Rob has helped some pastors build. But now they're in places now where they are work for hire, and it's totally different. Yeah, you have to look at it on a business perspective, and people do not like to mix business and pleasure, which is church. They just think you should not, and you have to in some instances. And if you don't, like the Bible says, in business, be men. You have to stay on the straight and narrow and take care of business the way you're supposed to take care of it. Now, I'm one of those guys who, again, I've been playing for a very long time, and I've had a job. So let's talk about having a job. So I've had a job since I was 14. I started teaching at Dorlin when I was 14 years old. So I had a job all the way through high school and college. I had a job, and so it was important for me to be able to balance those two. Now, was it a struggle? Was it hard sometimes? Yes, because you got to try to learn material, man. But luckily, I worked at a music school, so I was able to, in my downtime, to learn music. Rob, that's the difference between somebody that's a welder building trains and cars and stuff all day, and me sitting at a piano teaching people. It was totally different. So it depends on where you are, and I don't want people to get it mixed up. People are worth the Levites, and if we could get real deep, the Levites were some of the ones who were taken care of in the Bible. They were taken care of, and they always were taken care of because they had to usher in whatever presence that they feel that they needed of God. And so you cannot diminish that and say these people should not be taken care of. If anything, we need to be looking out for them in a most excellent way. And so musicians, I love you guys. Singers, worship leaders, I love you guys. And sometimes we take our worship leaders for granted. We just be like, man, they're supposed to be up there doing this. This is their reasonable service. No, it's not. Because like you said, if they're teaching, if they're training, if they're picking music and they're rehearsing music with the praise team, then they need to be taken care of because they are doing something outside of the scope of what was really expected of them in first.
I agree. April.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go so.
No.
No, I agree wholeheartedly with what everyone said. I feel like you have to, whatever place that you're in, you have to know that place, if that place is not in a position to give you anything every Sunday, especially if it's your home church, it's the whole vibe of your gift will make room for you. Your home church is the place where you get the practice, that
the training. Yeah, the training.
Once the doors open, then you get to move up and you start to move into now you can receive something. So I get all of that. And this is again, this is me personally because I have 100 different talents and 50 jobs, so I always have finances coming to me.
Your husband said you got more jobs than a Jamaican.
I do. I do a lot of stuff. I have a lot of talents. My creativity or my gift was given to me through my hands. I'm able to do a lot of stuff with my hands and be successful with it. But I feel like that the gift of my voice, as far as teaching and everything, is the same gift that I have to give back to my church. That's my personal opinion. I can't speak for nobody else. I feel like God gave it to me as a gift. So I give my gift to those at the church. And my church, whether it was in a position or not to be able to pay me, that's up to them to choose to do that. I'm definitely not going to ask.
Can I say something before we? Can I say something before we? So I think the other part, and I remember Rob saying this, and it kind of stuck with me. I think, before pastors hire people, and I think that we should, develop a relationship so it won't always be money. But when you don't check on me and see how I'm doing, it's gonna always be about money because I don't think that you care about me. And I feel like a lot of pastors that I've served in the past and some now, some call me and say, hey man, what's going on? How you doing, man? You been getting rest? Like I think that's way more important than what you paying me because you actually calling from your busy schedule to check on me. But most pastors are not doing that. So you allow us to have it be about money. Hey, you got my check. Now I was here on time. But if I knew you, I know your heart won't be like, hey man, I'm late. And I could be like, oh no, we good. Hey, I'll talk to you tomorrow because we talk. But most pastors, you don't have a relationship with them. And it's always about, hey, you got my money. But then when I don't know a song, you jump down my throat. But when y'all my check late, then it's a problem. So I think the other part of it is having a relationship with the pastor to make sure that we both understand each other's heart and we know, whatever the relationship is.
And then another thing, a lot of people say like, your gift will make room for you, right?
It always does. It always does.
Now, don't compartmentalize my gift so that it suits you, though. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So like if I'm a bass player, right? If I get a call to play with a secular artist, that's my gift making room for me. So now you can condemn me now because now I'm serving two masters. It's like we can't win.
No, it is.
I mean that's another issue for me. Like you want us to be great musicians. We can kill your church every week. But when our gift make room for us, but it doesn't suit you, now we have another issue.
Yeah.
So it's like a never ending. That's like a never ending thing.
But we have musicians and singers alike in the gospel industry that have crossed over.
Right.
And I mean, I think that it's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's like you said, it's your gift making room. Like that Amber Bullock. I think she won Sunday's Best a few years ago.
Yeah.
She did an interview maybe 3-4 months ago. She was like, "Yeah, that gospel, I'm done with that." She started
because ain't no money in it.
That's what
chill. It's
not their kind of money.
You're right. It's not their kind of money. You're right, bro.
You gotta be the Kirk Franklin, the Fred Hammond, the Donald Lawrence, the Todd Delaney's. You gotta be them to get that money.
James said, right. They're gonna have a good Christmas over there.
Yeah.
Hey, don't put me in that. I do video editing, so all my money don't like since this pandemic, I've learned different traits. So it's off the keyboard for me. So I've learned how to do video editing. I've learned how to do a lot of stuff. So a lot of churches that I'm helping, I'm getting paid through that as well because I learned in this pandemic that we don't know when we're gonna hit the stage again, and that's how I make my living. Like April said, I'm learning how to do other things because we ain't in church right now. I ain't played in church. You know what I'm saying? I mean, outside of the little outside stuff that we've done, but we have to figure it out, and that's just as my gift. I don't know what God has for me. I don't know what's next for me. I may be an editor, but I'm open, and I ain't just saying I got to get back to church because my family got to be taken care of. So that's another thing.
I think that matters.
What about ministry? She says, "What about ministry? What about it? What I
was gonna jump in there.
I don't know what that means because nobody is saying that we're not ministry minded and ministry based because we are, but at the same time, business is business.
Business is business.
It's the Bible says first natural, then spiritual. Don't do that. You have to make sure you have a balance. Yep. And if you don't want to have a balance, you're going to be one of those people that is left behind because you're not able to balance both work. God is not an author of confusion. He's not going to let you just have one part of it and you just be great at that, or one other part of it, you just be great at that. You just great at ministry, that's all. Or you just great at making money. No. And if you are have a ministry minded pastor who is music minded at the same time, because he has to have that heart. He has to go like, so man, what do you need? And how can I help you help our church be great? It has to be a balance. When you don't have that, it's always going to go downward spiral. So it's always about ministry. Always. It is never not about ministry.
But
I think
it's still a job too. So I feel like when pastors hire musicians, it is a job. And I hate the fact that musicians, what we do for a living, gets downplayed as if it's just a little hobby that we got going on. But there's been thousands of dollars invested in lessons. There's been thousands of dollars invested in education. And so if it's just like going to school to be a nurse, like Jay said, about being a doctor. If I went to school, I've done the training, I've sat with personal coaches and everything else to do what I'm supposed to do, and you find me, I got to put a resume in, I got to do an interview, a phone interview, I got to sit in your rehearsal, I got to audition. It is now a job. Stop trying to put ministry with my job. Because what if I was a ministry man, but I'm skillful? You hired me because of my skill. You didn't hire me if I could speak in tongues. That had nothing to do with the ministry part of me sitting behind that organ. So you got to be able to separate those two too. Somebody got comments and said they also don't pay tithes and offerings. That has nothing to do with your job. Especially when I'm a member of your church. If you hire me, my tithes and offerings don't have nothing to do with my paycheck. That you give me. It's a job.
Yeah.
I think the other part of it is some pastors went to seminary to become pastors. Some churches only take pastors that only went to school for seminary. So you telling me that I can't pastor because God called me, but I gotta go. I gotta have schooling behind it. That's ministry too. That's the same thing. And I feel like if the pastors go to school to get paid, musicians we can go to school to get we can get paid too. And the other part of it is, and I'm gonna leave it alone. Like I've seen most pastors travel to preach, but when we go travel, it's a problem. Yeah. You preach around the world, but then when we got to go play for whoever, hey man, make sure you back for Sunday. You be gone too much. You be gone too. I don't tell you to stop preaching because you can't go. But then when I gotta go make me some extra money, then I can't go because I gotta be back for Sunday. And then I could be making $15,000 this week, and you like, well, if you ain't back by Sunday, well, you ain't getting paid.
Yeah,
Like,
man.
what
To
was
get your 500, to get your 500.
That's what I'm
Probably
saying.
for my 15
it's
grand.
making too much. It's making too much room for you, man.
So yeah, so I think like I said earlier, I think knowing the pastor, and that's why I won't never play for another pastor unless I have a conversation. I need to know your heart because I know my heart when it comes to ministry, and anybody know me, I'll help anybody for free if I feel led. You know what I'm saying? It ain't always about money with me. I help anybody, and I feel like I need to know the pastor, whoever I serve, every week. I have to know because I just can't put myself in that situation again. Because at this moment I am traveling and I need that grace, and if I can't have that grace, this ain't the house for me. And I'm grateful for all of the churches that I serve at now. The pastor's like, hey, man, hey, I don't care as long as I can get you when I can get you. And I know your heart, blah, blah, blah. You super effective to my ministry, and I'm grateful for that. And they call and check up on me. So that's a win-win.
Important.
I'm glad that you all are not afraid to save money. I like that. Because that's one of them words that seems to be taboo with a lot of church people. And you know what I'm saying? You just got to call it for what it is. And I like, you know what I'm saying? Like James said, hey, you got my check. Where's that? Give me, run that. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's about business. And if, like James said, if you have a relationship with the person that's paying you. Now let's differentiate between these two because we're getting ready to go in a few minutes. You got this could be your pastor, okay? If you are a member of that church, that's one thing. But if you're not and you plan for somebody else, that's a whole nother story. So now we're not talking pastor, we're talking business. So now
Please, please.
Happy birthday, man. It's his birthday.
He talking like that.
Pastor Keys.
We let him slide.
Happy birthday, Keys.
So Shirley says musicians need to be valued in or out the church. It's the sound that sets the atmosphere. I agree with that. So I just think James pretty much summed up everything. You need to have a relationship with your pastor. If you know that man or that woman's heart, you all know each other. That makes all the difference in the world. April, where do you think we are headed musically? What do you? And we getting ready to go, y'all. Happy birthday, Pastor Keith.
Where do I think we're headed? It's hard to say because right now Kirk Franklin is wrecking it. However, even with Kirk Franklin, Anthony J. Brown is killing it. Because J in my face, that's why I said that. Anthony J. Brown is killing it right now. J.J. Harrison is killing it right now, and it's not so much choirish as it is groupish. It's not even praise and worship. It's just groupish right
Like
now.
an ensemble type.
Yeah. It's groupish. Ty Tribbett is on a different level. Like I don't know anything right now that Ty Tribbett sings that I can take to my choir and teach. Daniel Smith, he will. Daniel Smith and New St. Matthew, they can pull it, but not Joshua Missionary Baptist Church. I know my people, I know my audience, and I know the walls of my church. I would never try to pull anything from that caliber, but I'm excited wherever it goes. I'm excited. I try to pull from it as much as I can, but I know who to pull from and who not to pull from, honey, because my church ain't going. Them niggas sit down.
Marquita, what's going on with you? What's happening with you personally? You have you're another one who have played for and sung with the best. What's going on with you and your music life right now?
Well, besides playing for the two churches I'm playing for now, I do currently sing background with Psalmist Rain, that's based out of Chicago here. And I mean, you know what? My whole focus right now is school. I love singing, I love playing, but my heart is in teaching. And I was afforded the opportunity to be in the classroom for 13 years at a private school. And I'm ready now to venture off into the public sector. And so I am finishing my degree so that I can work and do what I want to do. I love instilling musical values and stuff into small children, into elementary school and high school kids. And so that's my main focus right now. I mean, I am still singing and still playing when duty calls, but I'm leaning more into teaching now, and I'm really excited about that.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for stopping by the front line tonight. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Eric Maurice Clark, I really, really ditto and what you said here, Buster. You've created great Chicago music history. I agree with that. A lot of people. Buster is the father to a whole lot of musicians. And we appreciate you, sir. Thank you for everything that you have done, man. You fathered Rob, you fathered James, and so many others. What's going on with you, sir?
Man, thank you for that. When I hear that kind of stuff, it just be kind of messing me up because I didn't look to become that. It just evolved that way. And I want to thank these guys for taking the whoopings that I gave them and still, and still acknowledging me as somebody that helped them. That means a lot. But as for me, I am still the minister of music at Destiny Worship Center now. I am doing that, and I have a couple of things going on. A clothing line, No Fear Here, NoFearHere.com.
Right.
NoFearHereApparel.com. But other than that, man, just trying to make sure, for real, during this pandemic, I'm covering my family.
Toya, put that website in the comments. Go ahead.
Yeah, Toya on here. Toya, put the website. But I'm covering my family, man. That's my first ministry. So covering my family, making sure they're taken care of. Working every day. This is where I teach. I'm teaching from here, for work, and I have found a way to be able to make sure that our church is covered during this pandemic time. I have played an integral part in making sure the church continues to go on. And I'm just the minister of music, but I feel like I have more of a, James talking about, he does this, but I feel like I have more of a responsibility because I have been rooted and grounded in that church since day one. So I don't want to see it fail. And I want to, what I'm saying? All of us work for a church. And I think none of us want to see our church fail. And so I'm very adamant about making sure our church does not fail and we look good and it feels good. And so I want to cover my church and my pastor. And so that's very, very important for me. Other than that, doing music, we just started working on some G3 stuff the other night, and we got a 10-year anniversary record that we're finishing up, and we're going to be releasing that. We're going to release a single at the top of the year, and so I'm excited about that. That's about it, man. I'm excited. Thank you guys for having me too. Thank you, Willie. I appreciate it.
No problem at all, man. We're looking forward to that music, and thank you also for coming on. I know you're busy. I appreciate your time. April, you got a lot going on. Tell us what's happening. You got some baked goods. Unmute yourself, dear.
Right now, I'm getting ready for the holidays with my cakes. I just put out a few new cake flavors this week alone. There's the butter cookie pound cake. There is a pecan turtle pound cake. And there's what I call a menage a trois cake, which is
what you call that now?
It's the menage a trois cake. It has caramel frosting, cream cheese frosting, and lemon frosting all on one cake.
Buster sat all the way up.
Yeah, so I'm getting ready to set up for Thanksgiving. I posted all of this like starting on Friday or Saturday, I think I posted it. And so far I have 37 orders for cakes for Thanksgiving. Amazing. I'm still taking orders. I'm thinking Saturday or Sunday is going to be my cutoff day. So you guys still have time to get those things in.
I just bought a new trash can, so I'll make sure to support you. So I could, yeah.
What does that do with the trash can?
No, you do amazing. Your everybody's been raving about your cakes and your baked goods, so I would definitely be supporting you on that.
Thank you.
Make sure
you made my wedding cake, right?
I think so.
Yeah, that was like 10 years ago. Dang.
Yeah. You're right. I did. Yeah.
Yep. So we will definitely be on that. Rob, what you got going on, man?
Right now I'm just serving as music director at All Nations South.
Uh,
Uh,
Stevenson.
it's under Stevenson, but my pastor's name is Josh Hart.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's in the south. It's in the south suburbs.
Yeah.
Just writing, producing, still playing bass, cutting from home. I'm a fairly new dad, so still getting used to that. Yeah, that's about it. That's really about it.
James, what's happening with you? How long you gonna be in the States?
Till this pandemic is over. We ain't going nowhere. The world shut down. We got idiots out of the White House, hopefully. Praise God, but that's another story. I shouldn't have said that. Okay, I hope they pause me. If not, oh well. Producing, I got a few things that I'm working on. I'm actually gonna release some music of my own, probably this year or probably next year. I haven't decided because it's something totally different for me. I got Rob's approval. He said I should release it, so I'm gonna release it.
Yeah, it's killing, bro.
He said
I'm gonna put that out.
So, and it's not worship, so it's gonna be totally different from what people know me from my early G3 days. From Bus allowing us to come up with everything that we could possibly ever put in music. Kind of took me back to those days.
Yeah.
And, probably releasing that. I got some music with Tim White. Got the opportunity to sing with my brothers and Tim White.
That project is all right with me.
Appreciate it. I was able to mix that record.
Good record.
First record I've mixed. We got a Christmas Christmas single that's coming out on Black Friday.
Okay.
Silent Night. We kind of redid that, and just blessed to just still be able to work to take care of my family during this pandemic. I haven't missed a meal. I actually saved more money than I possibly ever could during this pandemic. So some say 2020 was a curse, but I'm grateful to actually be in my right mind and be able to serve and still do what I love on top of that. And so it's just just working hard. The grind don't change. I found some other things to do. Like I said earlier, I've been doing a lot of video editing, kind of spending some money in that area so I can be great at that. So so I'm just working, man, trying to see what's next for me. So that way I could be a well-rounded producer when it comes to pictures, whatever. I want to do it all. So when you come to me, I can shoot videos. I could do your website. I could do it all.
I wanted to ask you, did you write Psalms 18 for Todd?
No, it was a spontaneous moment, so I created the music element of it.
Okay.
On the fly.
Because that's my joint. Psalms 18, that's me all day. If you all did not, those of you who are watching and we're getting ready to go, if you did not come on at the very beginning when we came in, I was playing a track off of Rob's project. Rob, tell us how we can get that. What's the name of it?
You can. It's available on all digital outlets. It's called True Story. Yeah, you can get it everywhere. You can get it on. You can listen to it on YouTube as well.
Okay, I'll be pushing that. All of you guys. Rob's got music out. I'm sure there's more to come. G3 has got some new stuff coming out at the top of the year. James has got music coming out. April's got cookies and cakes and pies and everything else. And Marquita says she's going to stay in school and do her thing. All of you all, again, I was not being facetious. I was not blowing smoke. I meant what I said at the start of this show tonight. I respect y'all as artists. I respect you so much. Thank you all for coming on. Thank all of y'all, man. All of y'all on tonight, whether it be Facebook, YouTube Live, Periscope, Twitter. Thank you, because we're live on all of those streaming sites right now. Thank y'all so much. We appreciate you for watching. If you don't mind, if you haven't done so, share this with somebody else. Somebody needs to hear. Share it with a musician or a worship leader or somebody in the industry, because this was just real talk. And I mean, a lot of stuff is going to transpire between now and the next 3 to 6 months. I wouldn't mind having you all come back and let's just do it again and catch up from then till now. You know what I'm saying? So again, thank you everybody for coming to the front line. I'm your host, Pastor Will. These your people, y'all that we all know and love. I'm gonna get out of here because it's time to eat. What you?
Buster, you supposed to be taking it easy. Now you said
I am
you
taking
just
it.
got your back right.
My wife made a very healthy meal for me upstairs, and y'all over here talking. So let's wrap it up. Okay?
I ain't having no healthy meal. I'm having pizza. I'll talk to y'all later.
Peace out. Love y'all.
Love
I'm
y'all.
going to do cake.
So how you cut this off? Okay.
I'll cut it out.